for F3 here in season 2 of CCRL. Mr. Craig Senna is alongside me here as all the guys head out to track. Say hello to everyone watching. Mr. Craig.
Yep, good evening everyone. Welcome to the last race of F3. The last tier to decide who is going to be champion. Spursy has got a 16-point lead over Webber, and I think he only needs to finish, I'm trying to work out the maths now, about 6th or 7th, and Webber has to win. So it's a tall order. And especially with the news that we found out now, it's going to be a full wet race. That is really going to spice everything up.
As much as I love this track for its racing, it's just the layout of the circuit is just brilliant. I do not like it in the wet. Overtaking is fairly scarce, it must be said. Obviously, you've only got that one corner on the exit, that last corner on the track. That's the main place where you need to get a good exit. Otherwise, you are not getting any overtakes done, and it's quite easy to hold the cars behind, especially if there's a train which will likely be formed during the race. I imagine we'll see a fair few of them. Overtaking will be hard. You'll have to be very, very confident on the brakes, particularly into turn 1 and turn 4. But, yeah, qualifying, it looks like it's going to be very, very important for these guys.
Yeah, it's not the overtaking problem for me. I've normally been there every time it's been a wet race, not just on this game, but it's after the end of sector 1, for the exit of turn 4. I see the back ends step out for me and I just launch into a barrier going left, so I hate it when it's wet around here.
Yeah, it's not enjoyable in the wet. It's great fun in the dry. Get brilliant racing from the circuit, but when it comes down to the wet, it does tend to end up being single file and reliant on the cars ahead of you making a mistake.
But the good thing is that
WRS,
it really
we've had carnage here.
Really does spice it up for the title side as well. Like, it's going to add more pressure now to Spursy and Webber to make sure they keep
seen
on
it
the
across
road.
the line. That's the benchmark here in Q1. A few cars coming across the line. Kilbro starting another lap in the background. We've got the two Ferraris, I believe. Spursy, championship leader, only a 9.3. I don't see that being safe. Kings on a 1 minute 8.8. That looks far more comfortable at the moment as Tom 76 goes into P2. Kilbro's just starting another lap, and then we've got Cookie Monster down in P20 currently, coming out of the final corner. Go on board with him, as I think he's just done the same as Kilbro there, backed out of the previous lap and going again. Nope, into the pits he goes.
And this is
so
also
we'll have a ride on board with Kilbro.
The other factor as well. What kind of setup are these guys going to have? Are they going to have a setup, you know, drive for quality or a mixture of both? You know, this is, you know, part Fermo's on, so it's going to really be interesting to see what kind of setups people use just for qualifying. Obviously, you can only change your front wing and all that, so you can't really do a lot after that.
Talking about setups, we've already seen two of the guys leave the session, likely to hop on TT in the wet to try and load a setup. It was CCRL Jake and I believe Hunted was the other one. Kilbro there, 1 minute 9.009. That should, I'd have thought, been safe. However, back to what I was mentioning, obviously with those guys leaving, the issue you run with wet setups here is you lose all straight line speed in the race. As much as it's good to be the fastest car, you need that straight line speed in these conditions without DRS to get those overtakes done. So it's one of those things, do you compromise just outright grip for straight line speed and hope that it will be enough to hold the cars behind you where they are, and will it be enough to help you get past the cars ahead? It's going to be difficult for these guys to really judge what to do with their setups, especially being a fully dry qualifying, as Hunted and Jake back into the session there.
It's very, very difficult because obviously you need that straight line speed, but for me, I want to try and have a car that's a bit more stable and it's just not going to go off, because I can see some people DNFing or the safety car, not by purpose, but
that
just because of lack of grip.
Quite inevitable. Yeah, the grip levels as the rain begins to pour, the track gets damp, the cars will just slide here. The curbs around here are quite deadly. So we're just seeing Spartan's back end over there through the final corner, And yeah, I think if it was me here, I'd be putting on a more dry setup, probably about 2.8, 2.9 wings personally, not normally 2.5 in the dry, and then likely, well, for me it'd be about 2.9 I think I'd run for the race, so just to just have that bit extra rear downforce to get you on the power a bit easier out of that final corner in particular, and through, well, on the exit of turn 3 through, sorry, exit of turn 2 going into turn 3, as that is Edu in the wall. That's place where we saw 2 drivers losing it in the race yesterday, and Edu's gone and done the same here today in qualifying. I'm not entirely sure how that's happened, possibly lost the back end on the exit of the corner where the curbing is. It's quite easy done if you go a little bit too far out wide, get onto that grass, the car can pivot around and send you towards the tyre barrier, and that looks like what's happened there to Edu, who will now likely be starting P20 in this race. Spartans out the way on the inside as Paita is on a flying lap, I believe.
Yeah, he didn't have any good luck in Japan. I don't think he even made the first corner last week, so hopefully he'll end up with more luck. Yeah, Eddie's now going to have the challenge to be right at the back in a full wet race as well, so he's got a big challenge for himself. So, but I'm going to have a look at standings
here
anyway.
Comes Paita across the line, and it's an invalid lap there for Paita, so he's going to have to go again later on in the session, as we saw the title contender of CCRL Webber getting himself back into lobby. One of those, of course, I would have thought that dipped onto a little bit of Brazil wet TT to find a quick setup, and
so
I imagine we'll see him competitive in the race.
Just for absolute confirmation, Spursy is leading by 15 points. He's on 167 to Webb's 152, and Ferrari looking very good to win the constructors. They're 19 points clear of the racing points, so Spursy could end up doing the double like you did in F1. So
yeah, for the Ferrari team, when you sort of have a look at the constructors, if I'm not mistaken, King's taken that second seat alongside Spursy sort of towards the latter stage of the season, and he's really showed himself to well, in a good light, and he's helped the team grab some points. He's had some very good results recently.
yeah, he had the best of races last week, but he had a very good showing in Singapore, so I'm expecting him to be up there as well. And like I said, with him and Spursy, I would be very surprised if they definitely don't wrap up the constructors in Brazil. But Dangerous Dan, with a great lap so far with 108.5. Just sadly, he had a few bad races near the end, which has cost him not fighting in the title race in this last race, really. And got Summer Sport up there.
Yep.
Got a podium, didn't he, on his debut, so he's doing well up there again.
Yeah, exactly
but
just mentioning Dan there.
Field, so.
Yeah, Dan's had a very unfortunate end to the season. Obviously, most notably looking back to Singapore, where he was really in that title hunt, and then the small incident with, I believe it was Webber, might be mistaken with that one, but small incident during the race put him out.
Man tried to go for 2 little lunges to wrap that, didn't he? So
yeah,
that started off.
it was,
and then he had that big accident with JM, when JM was trying to get past him and he touched him and flying into the wall. That was kind of his title
it was JM,
really.
yeah.
So
yeah, that one race I think was a turning point in his championship there, and it's so easily done. Just one bad race, especially when you're sort of coming towards the end stages where it's getting very close. Just one non-points finish can be enough to throw you out of that fight, if not mathematically, like theoretically, if you get what I'm saying. It's that sort of feeling of having to rely on the other drivers then retiring to actually get back into the fight, and eventually Dan, I think, now out of the running, isn't he?
Yeah, especially when it's only a
Spursy.
12 race, especially when it's only a 12 race season as well. It's not a full calendar.
Yeah.
So, you know, a couple of DNFs that could be your season over if the others are being really consistent. I suppose he has been, to to be fair, so if he does win it tonight, then he does fully deserve the title. So
yeah, I must say personally, a 12 round season is one that I've actually enjoyed recently. Had that obviously CCRL here, had it in a couple other leagues, and it does seem to bring that championship closer and make it more of a tense fight all the way through. Each race is more important, so we're going to see that in real life this season as we sort of get towards real racing again. But it's a little bit different to what most people are used to, and you almost have to take it with a different approach, and it really does sort of separate the drivers a little bit. So yeah, it's just a bit of a unique experience.
Yeah, definitely, of course. Nothing really going on with chats at the moment.
Currently 12 viewers during Q1, 5 minutes left to go. It's not been the most thrilling of sessions, but unfortunately that's how Q1 is. As Kings goes across the line, I think he did improve slightly, but not enough to displace Dan there. I don't really understand why Kings is still out, if I'm being honest. He's comfortably through. He's just risking terminal damage here and having to sit out the rest of qualifying. So if that was me, having done that lap early on there, I'd just been sat in the pits like what Dan's done, just sit there watching everyone else go around and waiting for Q2. But King's wanting to just seemingly get a feel for the track and just go from there, I guess.
Yeah, so Webber's finally just come back into the lobby, and he's just got under 5 minutes to set a lap, so putting a bit of pressure on him, because he already want to start ahead of Spursy, and he's going to hope, well, kind of like what happened to Sebastian Vettel back in 2012, if he has a big incident, and to turn, well, the lap 1, and then have a chance, but he's left again, so he really needs to get back in time when he's going to be starting right.
Yeah, I wonder if Webber's having connection issues here. I would sincerely hope not, with the championship fight being what we're here for, really. And yeah, I would hope that we'll see Webber putting himself nice up the order. Obviously last week he was front row of the grid, P2, and then had just an absolutely horrific start to the race, courtesy of Codemaster's finest, and unfortunately that then made the race more difficult for him than it needs to be, and Spursy took the win in the end there, didn't he? So it could have been a much different race, and hopefully for Webber, his misfortune from last week won't continue across into this week here for the finale as well. I would really hope that we'll see a brilliant championship fight going on throughout this race.
Has he got back in?
I am not too sure. He's still in the pits if he has, but he's cutting it close at this point.
Yeah, he's gonna have to really hurry up, or he's gonna start it right at the back.
Just a few of the guys out. Most of the guys currently in the, well, all the guys in the top 10, bar Sparden, so I believe is on in-lap, if I'm not mistaken. All of the guys inside the top 10 are currently either in the pits or have retired from the session, just waiting for everyone to complete their laps. Pieter now sees himself into the top 10, P10, 9.227. It's going to be a little bit close as people start set lap times, as it gets knocked down to P11 by, I believe, Summersport, who just, no, not Summersport, Hunted, sorry, going into P5. A few guys further back. Avoki starting a lap now as he runs very, very wide, understeering a lot, seemingly through turn 2. He's going to have to save that fuel and go again. Hunted out the way on the left-hand side. Young Howes now showing brilliant pace last week, and the same again here. 3-lap old tyre, season 1 of 9.138. Into P9 he goes, and that should be Young Howes safe into Q2. Webber is out on track, so we'll have to, well, we'll have a ride on board with with him at the moment, but he's very, very laggy, it seems. Connection.
Definitely struggling with connection.
Yeah.
Eddie was said in the Twitch chat that he touched the grass on the outside of the corner, trying not to lose too much time, so that's what happened to him.
Yeah, that's easily done. As now Webber has got Hunted ahead of him. Hunted, I believe, heading towards the pits. P5 for him. As I'm not sure what I've just seen now. I was riding on board with.
Yeah, he's lagging quite badly.
Yeah, I believe that was XBL being a little bit naughty there. Saw that. That's a very cheeky line through the final corner as he starts his lap. But King's back in the session. I'm not sure who the host is here, but I wonder if there's a few connection issues, which is why we've seen people leave as opposed to people leaving for a little bit of wet TT. A lot of guys find themselves disconnecting here.
I don't actually know who the host is actually. But Webber's on his
backed
lap.
out of his lap. Yeah, Webber's on lap here. As CCRL Jake is in P5 as he goes across the line. So lap time from him 9.014. I'll cut over to CCRL Webber. I don't really want to show too much here, as there's a fair amount of lag going on.
Well, if he carries on, we will have to tell him to leave. Hopefully we don't have to do that, but it's very bad. He's like jumping backwards and forwards. And we can't have him risking causing incidents in the race. That's what everybody else can see.
That lag is absolutely terrifying. If I can tell you right now, if I was behind that car on track during the race, I would be shitting myself. That's
that's
not what you want to see as a driver.
He's got
I think
that's probably a good
thing. With that.
Probably a good thing.
Yep, Cookie Monster into P3 he goes, and I think Piter's at a little bit of risk here. Only Dips that can see him down. Piter's
Dips only a 10th up on his lap. So
yeah, it's going to be close. What he's got to beat a 2.27
and no, he's just
marginal. Piter
very unlucky.
Just about. Both the Renaults trying to fight for that Q2 spot, and it's Piter with his lap a few minutes ago who gets himself into Q2, 0.04 of a second separating him from his teammate in P16. So yeah, the two Renaults looking quite close in terms of pace, but unfortunately for Dips, he's the one who's knocked out here in Q1 XBL.
That's a
Utah,
surprise.
Elephant, Edu and Webber all knocked out in Q1.
That's a big surprise with JM. JM always seems to be easily in the top 10 into Q3, so that's a big surprise. Thank you, Guadek ST, for following us. Thank you very much. But, well, Webber has got a lot to do now. Want to sort his connection out and then plough through the fields to try and get near Spursy. He's got to win, really, Webber, if he wants any chance of winning this championship.
Yep, Webber's going to have to pull something out of the bag in this race, and he's going to have to fiddle around with that internet connection. I think he's obviously seen on his lap there that he did very, very laggy all over the place, and hopefully as he gets towards the race that'll be sorted out, and then he's got a lot to focus on when it comes to the race. Obviously starting P20, needs to be P1. He's going to have to pull a miracle out the bag to get what he needs, and I don't know, obviously set to be a wet race, whether or not it's full wet or intermediates yet to see. If it is like that,
full wet weather, full wet tyre weather.
Yeah, I don't know if the full wets could make a full race distance. I doubt it.
Yeah, I was going to ask that because I know.
If I was Webber,
top F1 guys can make doing a no stop in certain tracks. So I didn't know if they could do this around Brazil.
Yeah, there's some tracks where you can, there's some tracks where you can't. I don't know from personal experience. I've only ever raced this track in Inters really, and I know the Inters you have to pit. The the full wets, I'm not sure. I would have thought being quite a safe one-stop soft to medium, they might be able to do it. It's quite a rare limited track this, and I don't really know for certain. If I was Webber, I would go for it though. I would just commit to the no stop and just hope that the tyres hold out, hope that I can get track position, and just defend the position for all I've got. And I think that's what Webber is going to have to do. Cookie Monster first out on track with Pieter behind.
I'm surprised that two people selected mediums if they know it's going to be a full wet race. Like, I would have just, unless they didn't go for the softer tyre choice, I would have anyway. But all Webber's got to do is try to avoid any carnage at the start, and he's going to have to probably hope for a safety car at some point at the perfect time when he needs to pit. He's going to need some luck on his side tonight now, starting back.
Yeah. On the topic of those medium tyres, of course, if some of those guys have picked just the standard tyre strategy, they'll only have what I think. Trying to work out, they'll have 2 sets for Q3, 1 set for Q1, and I think 1 set for Q2, that being the softs. Then they'll obviously have that 1 set of mediums, which will have to be used somewhere along the line. And if these guys have used 1 or 2 sets for, well, if they've used 2 sets for Q1, they're going to struggle a little bit in terms of the compounds that they've got left as they come into Q2 and then Q3 if they can make it. I think that's why we're seeing 2 of the guys here of Spursy and Spartans on those medium tyres. As Cookie Monster invalidates his lap at the top of the hill where we saw Hamilton crashing in qualifying in 2017. It's not an easy corner. It's quite fast as Pieter joins Edu in crashing out at that tyre barrier.
It's not great to see. I can't see it. I can only see a wall. So I missed that out.
Looks like a number of guys here invalidating their early runs. The first across the line to complete a lap will be the Williams of Ratyak, who himself, I believe, no, he's just starting a lap. As Giavancini invalidated his lap time. Young Howes looks like his lap time is invalid as well. So a few of the guys struggling at the moment to actually get lap times on the poor Ratyak sets of purple sector 1, but those that track map is a little bit
around the Celerestas.
Yeah,
I think it's stupid.
That turn 1, 2, and then 3. I mean, I can understand it. If you cut it enough, you can gain a lot of time through the apex at turn 2, and on the exit. On that exit curve, if you run too far out wide there, you'll invalidate as well. King's 8.7 solo lap time from him. But yeah, going on about the track limits, it's only really that sort of like turn 1, 2 and 3 and then the exit of turn 4 that you can really invalidate here. Other than that, there's not many places. So once you get through that first sector, as you enter sector 2 and then 3, you're sort of more focused on
this track is like an all-star track. You haven't got the runoff areas. You've got a lot of grass, so you can't cut or track extend a lot. And Young Hounds goes quick for 108.7, just so it is mainly turn 1 and turn 2. I think it's stupid. But other than that, around turn 2 and 3, it's all grass. So
yeah. As we're starting to get drivers setting lap times now into the pits, goes like the Haas, I believe, of Tom. Dan there on an 8.4. That is a very competitive time here for F3. Something you'd expect more to see in F2, I'd have thought. It's a solid lap time from him. What, 3.5 tenths almost faster than anybody else who has set a lap time at the moment. Spursy, championship leader, I'd imagine he'll be quite close to what Dan has managed. I'll have to ride on board here, see what he can grab from this lap. He's got a few cars ahead of him, hopefully cars that's out of the way. Young House on the right hand side, keeping well out of the way of the Ferrari as he comes through to complete the second sector. Now just a one corner third sector. DRS active as he comes towards the line. Is he going to hug tight to the left hand side? Yes, he is. What's it going to be? It's only P5, 8.850. If Spursy doesn't improve, he could be in a little bit of danger there.
Yeah, the last thing he wants to do is start right at the middle of the pack. He's got a very high chance of being involved in an incident, if it's his fault or not, so does not want to start there.
Yeah, as there's an onboard example of how easy it is to extend and invalidate your lap time at turn 4. CCRL Jake ran just a little bit wide, not really gaining anything for it, but the game invalidating the lap immediately. So got to be careful in that first half of the circuit, just with those track limits, keeping the car within those white lines so you can dip those two tyres up, but once you get all four the wheels over the white line, the lap is gone. Jake's teammate now, Spartans, yet set a lap. One of, what, 5 drivers, including Pieter, who won't set a lap time here. And, at this point, it's just about getting those lap times on the board, getting a banker lap in. And, quite a difficult task for some of these guys, it seems. Into sector 3 we go. Got to focus on the exit, and then it's just a run up the hill. Over the inside curve there. Don't really want to do that too much. If it was me, it can unset the car a little bit. The run towards the line, not hugging it close like Spursy did, but it's ahead of Spursy. The point, it's P4 there, 0.794 from Spartans. That's going to be close. I imagine the cutoff we'll see is about 0.7.8. So it's obviously a short circuit. Times are going to be quite close together. The gaps will be, it's going to be difficult to get through as Dan retires from the session, confident that he will be through. Gavancini, after invalidating that lap, starting a new one now into turn 1. He goes. The 50 metre board roughly is your braking point into turn 2. Now got to be careful not to cut or extend. Then on the exit through turn 3, DRS active now. Now that's the first sector near enough complete. Run towards turn 4, braking point. Got to be careful on that inside curb, and he's invalidated the lap. So Gavancini, currently in P15, 6 minutes on the clock, is going to likely be in at the end of this lap to set a fresh set of tyres and go again. Got a lot of pressure on himself now if he wants to get himself through into Q3. Same for Hunted, Avoki and Tom.
Yeah, really got 6 minutes to go. Still got quite a bit of time to go. Oh no, Spares is looking alright in 6th place at the moment. David Stan's looking very quick right here. Good to see Spartan back. Good to see Clifford Moss back, so we've had to drive his return after being away for a while. But Red Bull's a bit of trouble now. Gavancini, Sandy Pite is already out, but I don't know who's going to be going out. He's very close to Q1. I'm sure it's going to be very close at the end of this session as well.
If we look back to Q1, obviously Hunted was one of the ones who was quite high up the order. He was, what, about P4, P5 I believe at the end of the session, so apparently P12 for him as he invalidates his lap time. That was a clumsy place to invalidate. It just ran wide through turn 5. Not what you'd normally see, but yeah, Hunted one who seemed quite competitive in Q1, down in P12. He's got a bit of time to find. Tom 76, he's had a few good races recently, and down in P11 for him as Rakyat puts himself up into P8. See who else is on the go. Spursy is on a lap now, so already done one lap on these tyres. Set to back out and go again by the looks of things. Some fairly neat sector 1. Purple according to the minimap. Got to be careful not to run too far wide. Looks fairly neat so far. Doesn't run wide like we saw Hunted do. Now up the hill, down to 5th gear. Some would go down to 4th, but if you go down to that 4th gear, you are risking the back end sliding just a little bit. So Spursy just opting for that 5th gear, keeping the back end in check. It looks smooth so far through this second sector. easy to lock the front right, under braking through this right-hander, and now it's back down the hill to complete this sector 2 and entering sector 3. Got to be careful, don't want to go too far over that inside curb, not using any of the outside curb through that final corner. Very, very tentative it seemed out of that last corner. And is he going to peel off into the pits? Yes, he is. So Spursy now P6 for him. I don't know if we've got many others on that. We've got a few on outlaps like Tom here, like Avoki. King's currently in P3, out the way of all the guys that are around him. Just trying to see. Sorry, Cookie Monster.
He's going to go in the pits or not, or he's going to try and do another lap. It looks like he's going to start another lap, is he? No, he's going to the pits. So he needs to hurry up and get back out again.
We've got the Williams and Cookie Monster on a lap at the moment, just dipping his tyres in that well, left-hander exit, dipping his outside tyres into the grass. That's what we've seen a few of the guys do already. Paita and Edu in Q1, Paita in here in Q2. Don't want to be too aggressive over that curve there that Cookie Monster just gone over. Yeah, it's over the line he goes. No improvement on his position, still there in P7. Summersport currently in P9, coming through the final corner. Will he be able to improve on what he's done? A lot of the guys using that inside curb running up the hill. A little bit of a surprise to me personally. Summersport over the line, only P8, but that is enough of an improvement for now just to see him a little bit safer. Not safe as such just yet, but safer than he was before, ahead of Rakyak now. And CCRL Jake among those at risk as he goes purple sector 1 according to the minimap. Jake, Tom, Avoki and Dravancini all on laps. Hunted still in the pits. Rakyak on an outlap at the moment, so a lot of these guys from, I would say personally, from P7 in Cookie Monster down to Dravancini, they've got a lot of work to do to make sure that they get through into Q3. That's Avoki coming across the line. Yes, it is, but it's only P12. Margin improvement sees him ahead of his teammate, but not enough to see him into Q3.
He's going to get through actually. He's going to have to really have a cooldown lap and go again.
Yep. That is for certain.
Dravancini's coming near the end of the lap. He's down in 15, playing to see if he can get himself out of the drop zone.
CCRL Jake puts himself into P3 there. As Dravancini not quite as good a lap. P9 currently in the top 10, but could see himself knocked out. Summersport the next at risk. He retires from the session. No further improvement for him.
I think he's going to be out. I think so. We'll go above him.
Yeah, I can imagine we're going to see the likes of Rakyak and Hunted both improving on their laps, provided they can keep it valid. And then Avoki and Tom both have good chances themselves to make an improvement. Got Tom on the run up to the line now.
Yeah, I've just been watching him.
P12 currently, can he get into the top 10?
This looks like a good lap, he's going to do it. Yes,
it is, it's safe. That is, yeah, he's guaranteed there into Q3. It's confirmed for Tom. Kings does improve himself. Trying to see where everyone is. The two Red Bulls currently in sector 1. Rakyak in the Williams in sector 3 now. Is Dravancini going again? No, he's into the pit, so Dravancini could get knocked out. Summersport is currently P11 out in Q2. Rakyak across the line he goes. Only P11, so not enough to see himself into the next session. Now we're going to look down to the two Red Bulls, Hunted and Avoki here. Two of them, as it stands, going out in
I think it's all down to Hunted really, with Rakyak and Avoki with Benny in ERS, so it's all down to Hunted to get himself in the top 10 or knock Dravancini out. So everybody else is going to go.
I think Hunted has the best chance. He's showing purple sector 2. Is it going to be enough? Got to be careful not to invalidate on the inside there. Yeah, P7 for Hunted.
Great job.
currently safe. However, we've still got Spartans, Spursy and Avoki on. No, Avoki, sorry. Avoki off at the final corner. So I think Hunted is just about safe, but Spartans is still on a lap. So is Spursy, I believe. So a few guys still out on track.
Hopefully they'll realise they are free now. We don't have to risk DNFing, but look how close those times are. The top three are separated by less than a tenth of a second, which is crazy.
Yeah, less than half a tenth even separating them. Spurs across the line.
Oh,
he joins the
point
four. Yeah, he joins the point four club. 4 of them in the point fours, separated by less than half a tenth. 4 cars, 2 Ferraris, a Toro Rosso and a McLaren. Very, very close at the front. That one of those things is qualifying complete. Thankfully, yep. Thankfully, there aren't too many cars out on track. So the 2 that are still there of Hunted and Spursy, 2 cars that are still AI on track. Thankfully, they shouldn't be at too much risk of their AI blowing themselves up. So
yeah, I really hope they
that's
fix
a
that
positive
for the next game. But as you guys know, it is a week today. If you have the Michael Schumacher edition, you will have the game at midnight today. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to what is stored in this game after this race.
Wait, midnight today?
Sorry, it was yesterday. So it's less than a week now. Because Because if you get it normally, it will come out next Friday. You get the special edition is out today. So yeah, you would have played it for like half a day now if you had it.
So there's a question for the guys that are watching. Obviously, we know there's the giveaway going on for the copy of F1 2020. What they if I'm not mistaken, the winner announced on the release. Which release day? The 7th or the 10th? Which day was that?
I think we'll do it on the 7th. The competition ends at the end of this week.
Yep.
And then we'll figure the day. I'll bring it up in the meeting. It's actually decided. So.
Righty. So there is Q2 done and dusted into Q3. We go. This is where it starts to get very, very serious for these guys. Obviously, the lads who are used to being up at the front, Q1 and Q2 is just a formality for them, and now this is where they're really, really focused. Tom, Dan, Kilbro, Kings, Jake, Younghouse, Hunted, Spursy, Spartans and Cookie Monster, all of the top 10. Which one of them will end up on pole? All the guys watching, give us your predictions of the front row. Who you expect to see on pole, who you expect to see alongside them. If it was me personally, I've got to put Dan up there. He's been right up at the front both sessions so far, and I imagine we'll see Spursy or Younghouse.
They're all there's about 4 of them barely matching.
Yep.
Apparently there's rain in 10 minutes, and it could be rain right at the end of qualifying, but I don't know if it's going to affect it or not. But
so that's going to be interesting. That's going to give reason to all these guys to get out on track nice and early on. Don't need the fitted tyres up now as we are in Q3. Everyone should be on the softs. If they're not, they're cracked out their mind. But a number of guys out on track nice and early on. What's that? 5 cars so far. The 6th of Kilbro coming out of the pits now. So this is where they've really got to be focused. Every lap they do in this session counts, and with that rain that you've suggested could come in 10 minutes time. If that is the case, they've got to get these laps in nice and early, and don't really want to be taking too much of a risk. Both Ferraris heading out to track with CCRL Jake in the middle of them both, and it looks like just Younghouse still in the pits. So an interesting call with that one for the new man here in F3, as Tom is about to begin his lap as Spartans and Cookie Monster have also started theirs just a little bit ahead.
well, we've got Stringy saying down to pole, Howard to P2, Kings to P3, and then Epic Scout saying P1 for Kings, P2 for Dan, and P3 for Spursy. Thank you for the 20 people watching at the moment. Hope it's going to be a good wet race, but I think there'll be a few incidents, a few spins.
Yeah.
But who can nail the lap? Who can get the final pole position of F3? If Spursy is basically, if he started on the first couple of rows and he stays out of trouble, I think he's looking very, very good for the title. But
yeah, Spursy with Webber being P20.
No idea.
Yeah. With Webber being P20, Spursy looks like he's got a good chance at claiming this title here today. Cookie Monster across the line, then Spartans shortly behind, 0.4 and then 0.7 respectively.
And Las Vegas says,
a few other guys
down in the field. That's impressive. Good for Tom.
Yeah. So. Tom, as he puts a 9.0, and I wonder if we'll see Tom put in a scorcher later on in the session, but as it stands, struggling it seems. We're going to ride on board with the title leader at the moment, the championship leader in Spurs as he comes through this second sector.
So here you go, Bruce. Still over Dan then.
Yeah, I think Dan's going to be right up there a bit later on in the session. He's not matched his Q2 time just as yet, but still one run left in the session to go. I imagine we'll see him making a bit of an improvement Friday. He can keep the lap nice and clean. Spurs here across the line, and it's only P6. Is this track getting a little bit slower, possibly?
You can see the clouds coming over. And to be honest, that time for Cookie Monster is very good because that's what they're all set in Q2.
Yeah.
Maybe the temperature's cooled down a bit, I don't know, but they don't seem to be matching. Unless they've gone out on tyres that are not fresh for the beginning, and they've only got one set fresh for right at the end.
That is a possibility for sure. I don't really know what to expect from the guys. Obviously, we've got well, we saw in Q2 Dan, Kings, Kilbro, and Spursy taking up the top 4 spaces were very, very close. So Cookie Monster, who I believe was just shy of those guys, showed himself right up at the front this time around, and a good banker lap for him. Could see him in with a brilliant challenge for pole position, if not a front row start. So should be good for him. CCRL Jake, as he's coming up the hill now, he's got Young House finally on a lap. Young House leaving it quite late as Jake into the pits. Young House now will cut to as he comes through this first sector. Purple according to the minimap. See what the rest of the lap looks like for the Mercedes driver. Up the hill we go now, back down the hill a little bit through this right-hander into another hairpin here. First gear, short shift to third, and just a little loss of the back end there is going to cost just a tenth or two. That's going to possibly throw him a little bit further down the order than it otherwise would have been through the final corner. Young House goes now up the hill once again.
Yes, the Spurs, he said they were used tyres for that first lap he did, so yeah, I was right. So some people must be using used tyres. But
Young House crossed the line, P7 for him, so...
And definitely, because he's 4 tenths slower than his best as well, so...
Yeah. Jake currently the only one yet to set a lap time, so he's got a lot of pressure on himself to get that lap in later on. Young House looks like he's possibly going again. He's gone purple sector 1 and then invalid at turn 4, kind of very close to Tom, who's on an outlap there as Young House runs up the hill. See who's starting lap. Cookie Monster has just started what I imagine to be his final lap of qualifying here, likely his last lap in the dry conditions here.
I need to have a quick toilet break, so I have to leave you with I'll be back and see what happens. So.
Okay. So now that Senna's gone to the toilet, we'll see what these guys can manage. Jake needs to get out of the way of Cookie Monster, which he does nicely. The other Alpha shortly ahead, but Cookie Monster there despite a very, very solid banker lap and an unnecessary spin, this lap has not been what he wanted. I'm not entirely sure why Cookie Monster's pushing the car that much after it's an invalidated lap, but pushing nonetheless, and around he went. Spartan's now about to start up his lap as I think Kilbro's on a flying lap in this middle sector. That looked very, very wide through that right-hander there as we come now to complete sector 2 into sector 3. Up the hill now, Kilbro goes one last time, I'd have thought. DRS active, going to hug to the left, I'd imagine. Yes, he does. Is this going to be enough? It's only a 0.5. Not quite matching what he did in Q2. We'll see what Kings can do here. Picking up Kings roughly where we did Kilbro. It's a little bit neater than what Kilbro managed there through the right-hander. Now downhill through this left-hander. Using a little bit of that inside curb. Now into the final corner. Kings goes. Run up the hill now. Nothing much left to do. I'll just keep the car within the white lines. Currently on a 0.6. What's it going to be? Only P2 on a 0.526. 1,000th faster than Dangerous Dan, who's on an invalidated lap. So Dan's going to have to go again after that one. Tom currently on a lap shortly in behind as Jake sees himself up into P8 on an 8.837. As Spartans goes P4 on a 0.535, so time's coming in thick and fast at this point in qualifying. This is where it begins to really get sweaty for these guys. Have a look further back. Hunted, he's coming through turn 1. Jake, I don't believe, is on a lap. No, he's not. Spursy just starting a lap, if I'm not mistaken there. So Tom is going to complete this lap, I believe, although he's got a lot of VRS saved up. I imagine he's backed out of that one. He's actually into the pits there. So Tom's qualifying appears to be complete. Don't think there's much more that he can really do. All the drivers currently out on track, other than Tom, who's now retiring from the session. P6 the best that he'll be able to manage. I would expect to see a few guys knock him down a position or two here. Dangerous Dan, my pick for pole if I had to pick any. He's not in the best of positions. P3, Cookie Monster currently holding pole position. Man in the Williams on an outlap at the moment. As I think CCRL Jake is starting up just ahead of him. We've got the Red Bull of Hunted off the penultimate corner. Now Dan up the hill he goes. He's got a Ferrari ahead of him. Toro Rosso coming towards the line, and it is pole. Provisional pole for Dangerous Dan at 8.465. There's not too many drivers that are going to be able to challenge him. Spartans and Kings both in the pits. Spursy in the pit, so that's their qualifying over. Cookie Monster out wide and invalidating his lap. That's it for him. And there's the rain that we were expecting. The rain beginning to fall. That's going to cost just a small amount of time as it just begins to pour. I think it's late enough for these guys like Jake, like Hunted, like Young Howes. It's late enough for these guys to be able to improve their time and it not to cost them too much. As Jake backs out of his lap, into the pits he goes. Hunter's invalidated lap. I think that leaves just Young Howes left. I don't know if there's going to be much of an improvement for him. Looks fairly conservative as yet backs out at the final corner. That is qualifying complete. Q3 done with 10 seconds left to spare. Dangerous Dan claims pole. Cookie Monster's early lap time of 8.499 is enough to see him on the front row of the grid. A little bit of a surprise considering King's pace in Q2, Kilbro's pace in Q2, as well as Spursy, who's actually only P8 after all that. So the man focused on the championship, not ideal for him. Just waiting for Hunted to come around, taking it nice and easy. Little bit of a weave, hunted down in P10. Could be worse, but not quite what he would have wanted, I'd have thought. Showed a lot of pace in Q1. Q2 it seemed to fade away just a little bit, and now in Q3 and not just losing out a little bit more again. Run up to the line, just hunted that we're waiting for. Playing a little bit of music with his gearbox there, and over the line, hunted goes. So that is Q3 complete.
I'm back.
The rain was alluded to earlier in the session by Senna, who has just returned. Did come right at the end, but not early enough to really put up any issues for anyone. So there is Q3 done and dusted. An 8.465 claims pole position. The time's not quite as fast as they were in Q2, possibly suggesting the track was a little bit slower than what we had earlier on in qualifying. But Cookie Monster there in P2, shortly behind 300ths, separating the two that are on the front row. Then Kings in P3 and Spartans in P4, with Kilbro there in P5. The last of the guys that were within a tenth of what Dangerous Dan did in the end. Younghouse P6, Tom P7, Spursy, Jake, and then Hunted rounds out the top 10. So, Senna, now that you're back, what are you expecting for the race? Obviously, we know there's going to, well, we know you were expecting earlier a little bit of carnage being wet conditions. What are your expectations for the end of the race? Who do you think is going to be on the podium, as that rain is very, very heavy? Right, brilliant stuff from Senna. Yep, brilliant predictions, mate. Right, anyway, have a look through the race director quickly whilst we wait for Senna to re-emerge. Inters by the looks of things for everyone, so those tyres will not make it to the end. They will have to pit almost certainly. Ah, you are there. Yeah, so as I asked and had no response, as I'm very sad about. What are your expectations for the end of the race? Who do you see being on the podium? As Jake there setting the wet tyres on the car. Could be interesting.
It's difficult because we always see what they can do on their dry weather, and other people can be much better on the wet. So we don't know.
Yep, that is for sure. Obviously, some of the guys that we saw get knocked out, be it in Q1 or Q2, those could have been guys that have been running more of a wet setup, prepared for the race, as opposed to maybe a few of the guys towards the front that sort of favoured more the dry setup, which helps them in qualifying and then could cost them a little bit in the race.
Well, that's the thing, because I know Spartan put in the chat saying that he was using a wet setup basically in qualifying, so he could be looking very good in the actual race.
If he was using a wet setup, a P4 in qualifying is a brilliant place to be on that that more grippy wet setup in these conditions. So yeah, if that is the case, that's one to look out for. So I'm just sort of having a look through the race director to see if anyone else is going to join CCRL Jake currently on those wet tyres. I don't know as that's necessarily the right call, be it as they've all been suggested to start on the intermediates, but currently Jake going on the full wets.
Could be a gamble, but it could be a very good gamble.
Yeah, I wonder if Jake's had a look at the strategy, sort of had a look out, seen it that the full wets can go the entire race distance. As we were saying earlier in qualifying, I don't know if they can or not, but I wonder if that's what Jake has seen. He's gone to take the risk, gone for the tyre that's going to last a little bit longer, and sort of taken that risk. I don't really know what to expect when we get onto this formation up in 0 seconds. Now I'll have a look through the fitted compounds. So have a look at all the fitted tyres, everybody on the intermediate. So I think CCRL Jake, they're just teasing us a little bit as Dangerous Dan leads the way. Obviously these guys, it's their first time in these conditions. Obviously, they might have done wet practice before the race, but with it being dynamic weather, it's hard to really prepare for. You've got to sort of get a feel for the conditions in the moment, and this formation up is a perfect time for them to do just that. So Dangerous Dan leading the way. They don't really want to be too slow on this formation up, as they're going to want to get a feel for the grip. As so I don't know if you want to have a look back to Mr. CCRL Webber down in P20. Obviously we saw it in Q1. His connection was a little bit questionable.
Yeah,
so you want to have a little bit of an inspection.
So he had 4 screen freezes, and he actually left the circuit because he was that annoyed. It was basically proved like he's cost him the championship, but anything can happen. He looks a lot better now. The McLaren has got off, but he looks a lot better now to compare where he was before.
I think for Webber here, he really just needs to get his head down and focus on this race. There's 36 laps ahead of him. I imagine we'll see about a 1:22, between that and about a 1:25 lap time. So it's going to be a long time before this race is over. Got a lot of time to make up those positions that he needs. And Spursy starting in P8, it's not the end of the world for him. Webber still has a chance, and Spursy being in that sort of mid-pack almost, obviously the lead part of the mid-pack, Spursy's at risk, I'd have thought, of getting tangled up here. So Spursy's going to have to be very cautious off the start, and Webber's not really got anything to lose, so Webber can go full guns blazing here, whilst Spursy in P8 is going to have to be a little bit cautious.
I like that from Las Vegas. Bet 365 and saying safety car on the first lap, and then Episcale going on lap 8.
Brilliant.
So, but we'll see.
Well, yeah, don't get making bets with me about safety car. I'm not putting any money up, but feel free to guess between you. That's that. But here we go. Got the 3 lights on, 4 lights, and 5 lights. The lights are out, and away we go here in Brazil. It's a very wet track as they come towards turn 1, first time at full racing speed. Be careful not to go in a little bit too deep and hit the cars ahead of you. We've got drivers 3 and 4 wide even almost, I think, in the background there. There's Renault off at turn 1.
Pai was off.
Yeah, the Renault Pai saw him in the wall in Q2. Down in P15 he started, now dropped to P20. Action still going on in the midfield and towards the back end. There's Jake's off.
Other than that, it's a pretty clean start. Oh, Jake's off.
Yeah, that.
Other than that, it's pretty clean.
Yeah, despite the one Renault that we saw off, it's not been as bad a start to this race as it could have been. We saw in Tier 1 last night, I think 4 cars out at turn 3, and the guys in tier 3 showing exactly how it's done in more difficult conditions. A little bit of carbon fibre flicking up from somebody's front wing.
And Lots of
action going on here.
He's already got a 1.3 second lead in Kings. He's got a massive train behind him. So it's looking very good for Danish Dan at this early stage. And
Kings I think made a mistake. Kings down to P3, dropped down to P4 now.
Spursy out.
Spursy out.
He's out. Championship leader is out.
VSC. Right. This is where Webber needs to just keep his cool. Championship leader.
So Webber has to finish
out
in second place to win the championship.
No, I think, what's the gap? 15 points, did you say, between...
Yeah, but I think Spurs has got more wins than Webber, so I think he'll go down on wins. So he's got to finish second place.
Right. So second place to confirm the championship, third place to tie it and to take it on countback.
Oh,
so,
there's a Red Bull out off as well, and Mercedes being carried with him. And that's giving more positions to Webber now. He's already to 14th place now, so Bogey went off.
Yeah. These conditions, I think, obviously Webber being on the pad, it's going to favour him a little bit. And having started P20, 6 places gained in, 1.5 laps. He seems comfortable. He does seem comfortable at the moment. He's just got to keep his cool, keep his nerve, and keep that front wing intact. Doesn't want to have any damage to that. Obviously, we saw him in a few incidents last week, but this is Webber's to take. Spursy with his issues. I don't know Maybe if you want to get him in to have a chat, as there's a Toro Rosso.
I don't know if you want to be in the mood for that at the moment.
Yeah, that's my only thought. It would be nice to hear from Spursy exactly what happened, but I think maybe a little bit of time to allow this race to unfold might be the best course of action there. As, we saw Webber gaining position on Travancini, who I believe made a mistake as Paitas, that's fast lap of the race so far in his clean air. All these guys in this P3 downwards.
Because he looked like he hit the
yeah,
wall,
I think he spun off a side pod there as Edu's. I think Edu's had issues through turn 3.
Yeah, and Webber's now
up
so Webber is now for 12. Trying to keep an eye on his progress at the moment.
Yeah, just having a look at his teammate at the moment in Somersault, who's all over the back of Tom 76 here. Somersault, who, if I'm not mistaken, was started P11 or 12, and he's into P9 right on the back of the Haas. He's looking to the inside here, he's showing his nose, but not really looking for it wholeheartedly. And Tom's taking the race in line, holding on to the position.
Harry Spurs is saying that he didn't even hit the wall. He's calling BS on the game.
Well, that's not really what you want to see. The game being as bad as it is, affecting the championship, as Spartan's almost losing the car through turn 1 under braking. As Travancini into the pits, 5-second penalty for speeding. Got to be careful on that. That pit lane is so easy. It's a very fast pit entry, and Travancini showing how difficult it is. But yeah, we've seen a number of issues with Codemasters these past few weeks. Webber with his start glitch last week, which I think ended Paitas' race and hampered himself an awful lot. And then this week, by the sounds of it, Spursy suffering a game issue as well. So it's not what we want to see. We'd rather see a straight fight between the two of them. But as it stands, it's making this championship even more interesting. Ratyak making a move up the inside on Summersport, but Albon corner. Yeah, Ratcat into P9, Summersport down again to P10. So Summersport, who was all over the back of Tom 76, has now been overtaken by Ratyak, and Ratyak now the one to challenge. Trying to see what's going on with Webber at the moment.
Oh no,
Tom's out.
Tom's out. That's surely a safety car, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because he's blocking the pit lane.
Are we going to see anyone pit?
Would you pit? Would you pit and then take those injuries to the end? Or?
I think if I was towards the back, I would pit just for a fresh set of tyres. If I'm at the front, I want track position in these conditions.
Alright, so if you're Webber right now, what would you do to give you the best advantage?
Stay out. Just follow what everybody else does. He's showing the pace that he needs to do. He's making the overtakes count. He's getting the positions done nice and quickly. He doesn't need to do much more. He can just gradually work his way through the field. He's showing brilliant pace. I would hope for him. He's got his teammate in P9 shortly ahead. That should be a relatively easy overtake if Webber can get up to the back of him, and that would see him sort of pushing now towards the strong points playing positions. And yeah, I think for Webber, just stay out. I imagine, obviously with the field now being bunched back up, we're going to see a couple more safety cars once we're back to full racing speed. And just having to watch at what Dangerous Dan is doing, because
Vogie's got a drive-through penalty with speed on the safety car. So.
Yeah, and that is what Webber has to be very careful of. He does not want to risk speeding. It's so easy to follow the cars around you, just match the pace that they're going at, and if they're being a little bit careless and not watching their delta, if you're just watching the car ahead, you can fall foul to it as well. So you've got to be very careful as Dangerous Dan now approaching the safety car. Going to have to slow down. He will be the one to control the pace and restart. It doesn't look like
anyone is coming in the pits to find they're all staying out.
Yep, it was simply Avoki and Travancini who have pitted. Everybody else has stayed out on
their at the back
intermediates.
Anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised, to be honest, to not see say Pite, CCRL Jake or Edu pit. To be honest, it might. I don't know. I can't exactly remember how long these tyres can go, but I can't imagine it being too difficult to take these tyres to half race distance, especially now that we've had a safety car to help these guys just manage that tyre wear. But on the restart, of course, all of these guys are going to be careful with tyre temps. It's a very, very long run before they get to turn 1, which will just give the tyres and the brakes enough time to cool down and potentially be cold as they enter that first very, very hard braking zone. So it could be a very interesting restart here, and one that could throw up a few more incidents. And just looking back to 2019 at the restart, where Verstappen overtook Hamilton around the outside into turn 1, you've got to be careful not to go too early, because then that gives the car behind the slipstream and more of a straight to close in on, provided they can have a good restart behind and not get dropped. So there's going to be a little bit of, maybe not mind games, but strategy play come into this restart here, especially for Dangerous Dan, who will be controlling the pace.
Well, I'd be a bit annoyed if I was Dangerous Dan anyway, because he had like a 2 to 3 second gap on the safety car. I know he's got everybody all punched up again.
Yeah, I reckon for Dan though, he's just now going to be focusing on what's up next. In these kind of conditions, you can't really expect anything to just be safe. You've always got to be ready for a safety car. You've always got to just expect an incident somewhere throughout the field. And for Dan, who's leading it, as much as it's going to be a frustration, you can't really say that he wouldn't have expected it. I think anyone would have expected a safety car, as we were talking about during qualifying. It's likely that we'll see a number of them, just with this track being quite a fast, short lap track in slippery conditions. It's going to be easy for these guys to make just the smallest of mistake and see themselves in the wall. That's what we've seen with Tom, and that's what we've seen with Spursy.
Oh, definitely. Thank you, Jake Cullen 6272, following the Twitch channel. Hope you'll come in for a very good race. And safety car is in his lap.
Oh, as Cookie Monster's gone into the back of Dan.
Yeah. Oh no. And there we go.
And there's a Constantina effect further down. There we go.
5-second penalty as well.
Yeah, I think that was clumsy from Cookie Monster there. Dan obviously slowing down to let the safety car get away. It's in the braking zone, and Cookie Monster's gone into the back of him. I don't know as Dan could have done too much else. And now I think Dan's bolted. Yeah, so Dan has gone, and Cookie Monster's been dropped here. Kilbro not the best of restarts either. And Young Howes is going to have a run on Kilbro by the looks of things. Into turn 1, round the outside goes the Mercedes. He's going to go deep into the corner, on board with Kilbro here. Then we're going to take the race in line, cutting across Young Howes a little bit. Yeah, Young Howes, he wasn't quite alongside enough, really, entering turn 2, but he's going to have that slipstream again.
Oh,
he's going to be coming towards.
In the wall. Oh dear.
Young Howes tapped the back of Kilbro as well there. Young Howes looking to the inside. Young Howes just has to be patient. Got to bide his time a little bit. So yeah, Hunted and Ratyak having issues.
And look at this. Webber is now in 8th position.
Yeah, he's behind his teammate as well. I'm going to have a quick cut to these guys here. If I was Webber here, my teammate was ahead, I would, well, being in the championship fight with Webber here, I would almost expect my teammate to let me through, not necessarily down to just pace, but down to where I am in the championship as opposed to where my teammate is in the championship. So hopefully for Webber, he's not going to be caught up too much with his teammate, and Summer Sport will just sort of move aside
Hunted looked like
let his teammate through.
A bit too much, and they both touched and went into the wall, and sadly Ratyak DNF on it. But again, Dan,
a little bit further ahead.
Second gap. Dan's been very quick in the wet.
Yeah, Dan's had a brilliant restart, and obviously Cookie Monster picking up his damage off the back of the Toro Rosso on that restart. That's going to cost himself a lot of time, and those behind him a lot of time as well. So that damage and that little bit of a Constantina effect that we saw out that final corner, that could really pay into Webber's favour, because now a few of the cars that are ahead of him, who would have been a bit of a challenge now have damage, and they're going to be slowed down a little bit by it, so it could make those positions easier for him.
It could be. I don't think he's going to be in the party with his teammate, and I don't think his teammate's going to let him through or not, because he's very busy trying to get past Spartan. So
I think Summer Sport at the moment is just focused on his own race, not too concerned about the championship fight that his teammate is in, and he's just racing for himself, which is also fair enough. You sort of got to you've got to see both sides here. For Webber, he's going to be frustrated that he's caught behind his teammate, but at the same time, Summer Sport has no reason really to let his teammate go. He's racing his own race, and at the moment in a position to potentially get past the Alfa Romeo that's ahead of him.
They're all kind of stuck in a train behind Cookie Monster. He's got Kilbro looking for a move.
Kilbro's gone very deep into turn one though, and Cookie Monster's going to have to move back. Kilbro's not going to have the greatest of exits either, and Young House could be in for another attempt to get past the McLaren, who's had a very, very poor run out of turn 3, but just enough of a gap to maintain the position coming into turn 4 now.
Yeah, just got in now. He's up to 3.7 seconds. Jameson absolutely flying, while these other guys are still battling each other. Yeah,
I do get the impression that a few of these guys caught up in this train could be going much, much faster. I feel like Kilbro's stuck in behind Cookie Monster, and obviously we see there on the front right wing of Young House, he's got damage. He was showing a lot of pace before the safety car, and he's still showing a lot of the pace. Now as Cookie Monster's off, Kilbro's going to go to the outside. Kilbro's going to have the move done. As Cookie Monster, small amount of contact with the rear of that McLaren, and sliding through the final corner. Cookie Monster really struggling in these conditions.
Yeah, definitely struggling. I don't know if he's got a bit of wind damage or not, but we'll have to see. Thank you, Harvey P53. Get it out. For the follow. Now, Young House needs to get past it. Now, the question is, can Kilbro catch Dangerous Dan now?
I think Webber's going past his teammate here. Webber to the inside of Summer Sport.
Young House has
went very deep into turn 1. Young House is off.
He's off.
Webber was very close. My heart skipped a beat with that one as I saw Webber travelling towards the sideways Mercedes, but just about avoiding it both McLaren here. Racing points.
And he's going to make the move down the inside. He's going to look for it. That's going to be tight. Yeah, he's going to make the move.
Still side by side through turn 5. A difficult corner to go side by side within the dry. Elephant holds onto the position, having gone off the track, if I'm not mistaken, there, and Jake stays in P10. But through all of that,
Webber is now up to 6th position now.
Yeah, Webber in P6. He's got the Alpha of Spartans, the Ferrari of Kings, the Williams of Cookie Monster, and the McLaren of Kilbro, all of whom he needs to pass in these next 26 laps or so.
But don't forget, he can finish 3rd and get fastest lap. If he does that as well, he can still become champion.
That is true. That is very true. But currently in this sort of train that we've got going on, to an extent, Spartan having dropped away a little bit, this is going to give Webber a chance to get past nice and early on. Is he going to go for a lunge down the inside? He's not that close. Spartan's defending it nonetheless as Kings and Cookie Monster going side by side further ahead of them. That's going to bring them both closer to Spartans and Webber behind.
Oh, a bit of contact.
More contact. This is going to be a chance for Webber.
Oh my god, no.
3 wide, Spartans going to the inside. Kings is off and retired. VSC is out with Webber in all of that. Is now into P4.
It's a big collision with Kings. That's going to hurt now. There was a slight
there's more contact between Cookie Monster and Webber. That's a little bit of a confusing one. So now, so Cookie Monster was trying to get past Webber because Webber overtook him after the VSC was deployed, and Webber's not allowed it. So Webber's held on to the position and now has 2 5-second penalties to his name.
Well, that's not good.
And there's a screen freeze, and now he's behind Cookie Monster anyway.
This could be the downfall now. I had a helicopter shot of that whole thing, and it looked like he slightly tapped the Ferrari.
This is clumsy. Yeah, this is a little bit clumsy for Webber. He's taking so many risks here. He just needs to be a little bit more cautious.
I think Spursy, if he's still watching this, he's going to feel a lot more comfortable now with those penalties and all that for his title.
Yeah. Webber getting hounded by Cookie Monster, who's now being overtaken by Webber's teammates. Summer Sport down the inside through turn 1. Cookie Monster out on the AstroTurf. With that wing damage, as the Renault's almost the tanks up are going on the exit of turn 3. I don't know if that was trying to avoid cars moving around, but that was very wobbly.
Very wobbly indeed. Like
side by side coming up the hill. That is not a place you'd often overtake anyone. And Jake around the outside, Eddie on the inside. Jake claiming the position, holding on to it over the Mercedes behind him. A lot of action going on towards the front of the field. Those further behind have been caught up in incidents, and they're all sort of staggered throughout the course of the lap. A lot of action going on from about P4 all the way down to P10 here. Cookie Monster still struggling with that wing damage.
But the thing is, it all started with Kings and Cookie Monster touching and real very slow out of the top of ZRSs that caused the whole thing. So
Cookie Monster's still defending for all he's worth here. He's not got the pace that these guys have, courtesy of the wing being more of a slab of wood than anything else. And he's just not got that downforce that he needs. He's losing so much time from it, but he's still putting up a massive fight against everybody. He's off the track on the exit of turn 3. He's still holding it in front of Jake now. Jake trying to go to the inside. Cookie Monster not wanting to give way to anybody here. Cookie Monster off the track. I think Jake's Cookie Monster with some questionable driving, if you ask me. He's off track. Jake to the inside. They're still fighting though. Younghouse off at turn 1, but Cookie Monster here still fighting Jake for everything he's got. If I'm Jake in this position, I would be absolutely raging, because Cookie Monster's been off the track about 4 times in the space of about 5 corners, and he's still trying to hold on to the position. It's not a battle that Cookie Monster really should be fighting. He's costing everybody more time than he needs to, and really should sort of be heading to the pits as turning across the front of Edu. Yeah, he's Cookie Monster really struggling at the moment.
Tell you what, I'm giving a shout out to Dips. This is his best race since he's come back.
Yeah, Dips is doing a really good job.
Challenging with
he was what? He started P16 in this race. He's up 10 positions off the first 15 laps in this Grand Prix. So solid job from the Renault driver, the only Renault that's still in the actually no, sorry, Paita there, P10. My bad. I saw Tom with an almost yellow icon. Forgot he's in the Haas as Paita is out. I may have just cursed Paita there.
Oh dear, so that's another retirement. Are we going to get anything from that? Where did he retire? Oh, he's retired at the end of the safety car.
The safety car is out this
time. Now are we going to see pit stops?
Yeah, we will. I would imagine we're going to see some of the guys pitting. So I think some of the guys have already been lapped. Why is Hunted ghosting?
I have no idea.
Hunted is a lap down. So yeah, Hunted is a lap down. I think Hunted's disconnected somewhere along the lines. But yeah, Dangerous down in the pits. He's got a 6-second gap. Kilborough in the pits as well. What's Spartan going to do? Spartan's in the pits. Now Webber follows suit. Yeah, it looks like it's about right going to the pits. Summer Sport, I think, just backing off from his teammate a little bit as he enters the pits, just to try and not get held up. There's Dips closing right on the back.
And there's going to be a double stack in the racing point garage. And loads of people seem to be in the pit lane, I'm seeing. I think I saw Jake quickly.
Edu stayed out. Edu stayed out. That's not good for Webber here. Oh, I just realised Webber had to serve his 5-second stop go anyway. So Webber served his one of his 2 5-second penalties.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to try and get the other one taken off.
What was the other one for again?
So one was for contact with another car. Obviously that's where we saw King's retiring. And then the other was for overtaking... who was it? Oh, I think it was overtaking Cookie Monster, I believe, under safety car, or under VSC, and then not giving the place back up.
Well, I'm very surprised that Eddie did not pit. He's going to have to pit at some point.
Yeah, I think Eddie possibly waiting for another safety car later on in this race, although I don't know how much that would really help him, because still he'd come out further down the order, he wouldn't have track position anyway.
No, he wouldn't, but
I think
it's going to annoy Davis down again though, because again, he had a nice gap and we was all bunched up with him, but the good thing is, Eddie is on much more water into, so
in actual fact, this could be a really good chance for Dan. If he's not going to know quite the state of Eddie's tyres, I wouldn't have thought. As Eddie is into the pits.
I don't know why he goes straight away. That's very interesting.
As Hunted is back into the session, he's doing his usual fly past a safety car and just drive off here. Just a little bit. Yeah, I don't know how legitimate that is, but yeah. Hunted goes through. Dan is still the leader, as Hunted gets a drive through for speeding under safety car. So it's not going well for Hunted. We saw him having to do this same sort of technique where when he's a lap down to unlap himself under safety car. We saw him do that in Germany earlier on in the season. So it's the same here tonight in Brazil. So safety car's not really his friend by the looks of things. But yeah, he's going to have a chance to at least come around to close in on all these guys. Although he's going to have, well, he's not going to have much time to really bring that gap back down. He's likely going to be a little bit of a way off of the train here. So what I was saying about Eddie before he did come into the pits was that if he did stay in P2 on those 15 lap old tyres, if he had stayed there, that would have given Dan a little bit of a buffer to Kilburn behind, which would have given him a bit of a chance to just pull away in the early stages. But obviously with Edu now pitting, he won't have that.
No, I'm interested to see if Kilburn can keep up with Dan now, because by the time Kilburn got past Cookie and all that, he had quite a lead, so interested if Kilburn can actually keep up and challenge him, but whether he's now up into 4th place. We'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, I think with Webber here, see, he sees Spartans ahead, he sees Kilburn ahead, and then he sees Dan ahead. Dan is being one that was in the championship fight before, around about Singapore time, before that unfortunate race for him. I think Webber's going to know that the guys ahead of him are not at all slow, and they're not going to be easy to overtake. So he's got a fair bit of work to do to get past them, to get into that into that P2 position that he needs, if not P3 with fastest lap. But being in behind another car, I don't know if he's going to be able to find that fastest lap particularly easily. So I imagine we'll see this lap being the last behind safety car. Obviously Hunted still a little bit of a way behind, but I think the safety car been out about 3 laps now. Third lap behind safety car, I think.
It should be coming in this lap, really.
Yeah. Hunter's going to be about 40 or so seconds behind the pack here. Oh, as Webber just warming up his tyres, like he was about to spin there. As you see there, in over the other side of the track through the fence, Hunted's Red Bull approaching the field.
Well, it's the same Kilburn doesn't do what Cookie Monster did. He doesn't look like he's going to do it. And
yeah, so Dan now having to wait for the safety car to come into the pits before he can bolt, and it looks like he's gone. Dan's gone very, very early. Looks like it's caught Kilburn napping a little bit. Weber had a chance to get past Spartans, but I think he's
He had
lost
to
back
back
in a
out.
little bit.
He had to back out because
Yeah.
we would have overtaken him before the start finish line.
He's looking to the inside on the Alpha into turn 1. There's just no real way through. Summersport with Jake side by side in the background. Jake's just trying to show his nose into turn 2, but he's not alongside enough there. Edu side by side with
Weber's got a much better
down towards the
there
back.
on Spartan. He's all over the back of Spartan now.
Oh, there's the
try let Ruddy
sideways
outside.
action from Dramancini in the background as Weber trying to get past the Alpha here. He's just stuck behind Spartan. He's got to be careful not to put Spartans in the wall though. And through goes Weber, muscling his way past the Alpha behind him now. That's a bit of a questionable move from Weber there. Just sort of front wing to the rear wing of Spartan and just sort of barging his way through. Got to be careful not to be overly aggressive as you risk getting sent to the stewards for that one.
Yeah, exactly. You could end up getting more penalties after the race.
Yeah, got to be careful. Does Weber is now on the podium, but that 5-second penalty is still going to be in play. He needs that fast lap now. He's got 1.9 seconds to the two ahead of him. If he can get this fast lap done on this lap here, he's in a good position later on to get that extra point that he needs at the moment. Dan set the fast lap of the race. Will Weber be able to snatch it? Not just yet. So Dan holds that fastest lap for now. We've got battling going on between Avoki and XBLJM in the background here. Through turn 1 and 2 they go. XBL's gone quite wide through turn 2, possibly a mistake using the back end a little bit. And Avoki's gone through up into P8. XBL under pressure from Cookie Monster now, who I would have thought has changed his front wing. Will now have the speed that he had towards the start of the race.
And interestingly, like I was trying to see, Kilbro is keeping up with Dangerous Dan. He does have the pace that Dan has.
Oh, in the wall! Dramancini's in the wall.
And another safety car
again.
Again.
This is obviously a chance for the guys to save their tyres now. Something I was a little bit sceptical of at the previous safety car was the tyre wear, whether or not they'd be able to get the inters from about lap 15 until the end. Obviously about 21 laps or so they'd be on those tyres for, not all of them being race laps of course, but still enough to sort of put question marks in my mind as to whether or not they'd make it. But second safety car now on these tyres, it's going to give them a few more laps to just keep the wear under control, and it should, in theory, be enough to keep them going until the end. Don't expect anyone into the pits, to be honest. And this does give Hunter the chance.
Elephant 4 or 5 laps ago.
Elephant into the pits. Actually, for him, for him that makes sense. He was the last car in the train. Hunted is too far behind to be able to come out ahead of him. He's going to just get free tyres, like free change of tyres, and he's going to have less wear, more grip. And
is it really going to make
lost.
much of a difference though, having 4 to 5 laps?
In the long run, it will. In the long run, it will give him that little bit of an edge that he might need later on in the race. It will help him maybe by just a tenth or two a lap, and that little bit extra grip can be enough to get you on the power earlier out of that final corner. We're at turn 3 and get alongside someone towards the braking zone. So for Elephant, I would have done the exact same. I think that's the right call from him to get onto a fresh set of tyres, because now if there is another safety car where other people pit, he can stay out and comfortably make it. He's in a good place, I think.
That is very, very true. Webber said he thinks he'll get his 5-second penalty removed. Did he get told about the legal overtake? Well, we'll have to see about that with the stewards. Can't.
Yeah, I mean,
confirm that.
It was a question one, because he and Cookie Monster, I believe it was, were side by side as the VSC was called, and then I think Webber got past, and then obviously Cookie Monster tried to come back and reclaim the place, but I don't know. It's always difficult when the.
Oh, interestingly, Jake and Cookie Monster are pitted as well.
I know I was saying that the Elephant did the right thing, but unless there's wing damage for these two, there's no reason for these guys to be in the pits.
No,
No
absolutely
wing
not. I
change.
totally agree with you with that.
Jake
What?
has just served a 5-second stop go.
Yes,
that
yes,
might be a good call, because now that's not going to be included at the end of the race. He's going to have fresher tyres.
Well,
That from Jake is a good idea.
Well, I don't think you can serve them, can you, on the safety car?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You can serve a stop-go penalty on the safety car, because obviously if other cars pit, you're still losing that time. But you can't serve a drive-through on the safety car, because then the drive-through is worth absolutely nothing.
Right,
So
right, now I get you. Now I know why he's done it then.
Okay. For Jake, that is a very, very smart call, and that'll obviously give him that edge later on. He won't have to worry about that 5-second stop go, as it's now been served. As for Cookie Monster, I'm not entirely sure why he pit. It doesn't really make too much sense to me, to be honest. He was, what, I think about P9, P8, roughly, I want to say. And he's now down to P12.
Get through the field.
Yep. Here we go, though. Safety car is in this lap, and it's going to be Dan. 3 times out of 3 to control the pace on the restart. All the guys
good job every
forming
time.
up behind him. Jake closing in as Dangerous Dan just backs up a little bit. I think he's gone again. Dan has gone. Looks like a bit of a better restart from Kilburn this time, but he's got Webber all over him. Webber's in the wall.
Yeah, very close. Someone else got flying the ball. Got Elephant's out. Oh dear me.
Yeah, Elephant out. That could be another safety car, but that is what I was talking about with Webber. His aggression in some of the moves that he's been making.
Gone for it too soon.
It's not helping him at all.
And he's got damage as well.
Yeah, he'd gone off track almost into a gap that wasn't there on Kilbro, and Kilbro just held his line, which he's entitled to do. Once the other car's off the track, Kilbro can take his line, and that's what he did. And Webber saw himself to the wall.
He was desperately wanting to try and get past him into turn 1, but it didn't work out. So.
It's not what we wanted to see. Webber was in a brilliant position to take that P2 from Kilbro. He just needed to go the right side of him.
I'm trying to think if we actually have one more slot for a safety car or not. I think we've had 3 safety cars.
You can have, I believe you can have 4 safety cars. Yeah, I think you can have 4 safety cars and 5 VSEs in one race, I think. I might be wrong on that, but that's, I believe, what you can have.
Yeah, sadly Webber went for the gamble, but it didn't pay off, so sadly that happened.
Yeah, as much it's going to be tough for Webber when looking back at this one. Hopefully he can see it as a learning point, because it's a race of what could have been for him. He's essentially thrown it away on his own. If it was me making that call, obviously not had the clearest of angles to look at it from, but from where I saw it, that move was never really worth going for. In the position that he's in, he didn't need to make that move.
No,
he could have just taken it easy.
Just stay behind him and then try and go for the move.
Exactly.
30 more laps still to go. But Dex otherwise is looking very feisty for a podium.
Yeah.
He's looking very good.
It would be nice to see Dips on the podium here. He's had a few good races towards the end of this season. He's doing really well so far. Starting P16 as mentioned earlier in the race, up in P4 now, so 12 positions gained over the course of these 24 laps. But a small mistake is going to cost him potentially to Summersport, who's now round the outside down the hill. I think Dips has just about held on. He's going to be over that inside curb, and Summersport's going to have the better exit, I think. I think they're going to be side by side going up the hill. Yeah, Summersport looks like he's got the straight line speed advantage potentially as well. No!
Oh no,
that was not.
Oh, the Red Bull did not. Oh my god, it's a massive collision. But surely that is the last safety car coming out.
Another incident there, I think. I don't want to try and, well, I don't really want to be keeping on sort of portioning blame on people. But yeah, that was a weird one.
As slow as a contact that's caused a massive crash, and sadly a bogey.
Yeah,
it's the innocent person in the party was involved, and I'm surprised we're not seeing any safety car BSC actually. Looks like we're just staying under yellows.
Oh, it's Hunted almost itself to the barrier as well. there's a number of incidents going on here, and as much as Webber's put himself in a difficult position, it's not all over. He could still see himself towards the points.
And he's just got a 3-second penalty. That is not help, that's probably frustration.
As Hunted does the same, he's sent it down the inside of, I think that was Cookie Monster. Cookie Monster just taking the racing line. I think it was a bit of a late lunge from Hunted. Yeah, this race, it was really going to look good as Cookie Monster naughty on Hunted there. Hunted sort of looking to the outside, and Cookie Monster just sort of coming across to the right hand side to block him off. A little bit cheeky from him as he's going side by side now with Summersport. Stay on board with Hunted. See what happens here. I think Summersport's got a little bit of wing damage from that incident that he had with Dips. As Hunted just squeezed between the two of them. Hunter making a very good move, going through the middle of the two cars that were getting very aggressive with each other. And Hunted there, up into P6 he goes.
The Dips has now gone into the pits. Look, I kind of jinxed him really, he was looking very good. And then sadly that happened.
Yeah. As Jake's making the move on Summersport now. This race, up until about lap 23 roughly, that sort of point, the race was looking very promising. It was looking like it was going to be a really good one. Towards the end now it's starting to fade away just a little bit.
Yep, sadly it is. Everybody's a bit spread out now. Might be a good thing for the time being, with all the chaos happening up the safety cars. But I've got to give a shout out to Edu as well. I know there's been people crashing out alright, but he started in 19th place and he's got himself up into 5th. So he's done really well. Summersport is coming in the pits now, probably for that wing damage. Oh no,
Edu has disconnected.
Oh, no. I keep jinxing everyone today. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, I jinxed Paito. I said that Dips was the only Renault left in the race, then noticed Paito was still in it, and then 3 seconds later Paito was in the wall and out of the race. So both of us have jinxed people, as I think Webber has...
And Cookie Monster's retired.
Yeah, Webber and Cookie Monster. I don't know what's gone on there, but that's happened on a straight. Webber's car in AI mode. I'm a little bit concerned that something a little bit naughty has gone on there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
That's not really a place where you'd expect to see a crash.
That means CCRL Spursy is now the F3 champion. That is done. I hope Spursy online at some point. Would like to get him in for a chat. But yeah, he is now the champion. But I don't know what happened between Cookie Monster and Webber there. I didn't see it, sadly. So
yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you, as the actions begin to sort of fade away a little bit, I don't know if maybe you want to get Spursy in. Get Spursy in now to talk to him, and then go through the podium interviews later, sort of like separately. If you, I don't know, maybe that could be a good thought. I don't know.
Could have a look, see if he's still online actually. If you're still watching at all, Spursy, let us know if you're online.
Yeah, just if you want, just pop him an invite if he joins. Have a little chat with him, as he's now confirmed F3 champion here.
Yeah, it says he's offline, so see if he comes online. Be nice to hear from. Oh, here he is actually. Yeah, make sure to tick your box.
Yeah, Webber, I don't know if you want to do the honours here with the champion interview, call it.
Webber? You could be Webber.
Webber? I thought I said Senna.
Hello,
sorry.
Webber. So congratulations. Right. You are the F3 champion today. You must have been really worried after you
yeah,
just tell us Just tell us first what happened to you, because I didn't see what happened. I saw you
Well,
DNF. So.
yeah, I was just like cruising down the straight, and then the car at the back end, just like, because I'm on the right out, the car turning through because the straight's got a kink, so turning it through, and bang, the rear end. I'll go to correct, and it's like, it's the wall there, and it's like, I don't know, like, I slightly tapped it, and my car just blows up. Like, I don't know why.
Was you watching the race after that? Because whoever was
Oh
making
yeah,
a lot of positions.
I'm still in the race, a spectator. So
She must have been getting worried that when he got up to third
yeah,
place at one
I
point.
was,
Until he had that
in third, and I was
incident.
like, oh no, it's actually happening. I bottled it.
Because I definitely felt he needed second place. Because I swear you've won more races this season.
Yeah, I think I have. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. But yeah, you do deserve it though.
Yeah.
You've been very consistent. You've
Yeah,
not picked up many in-game penalties either. That's kind of helped you get a lot of positions in certain races. So.
Consistency at win, and which is what I've been striving for. Like not pace, but just keeping out the walls, keeping out trouble, and it's just what you need.
You must feel a bit sorry as well for what happened to Webb. I don't know what happened, but
yeah, I don't
obviously we wanted you two to be battling it out on the track.
I'd rather have been there and won the race, but that's how it is. I can't complain.
And because of all this as well, you've won the constructors as well.
Oh, that's
so you got the double. You were 19 points clear going into, and Hunt is out now.
Oh, I must have got
the
full server constructor as well, so I got the triple.
Yes, you've done very, very well.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
But yeah, congratulations anyway.
I don't even think I'm the fastest in the field, like, it's incredible.
What's your ambitions for next season and going to a new game? Like,
no assists. I think I've conquered on with the assist now, because this was my aim with the assist. I think I've taken it as far as it can go, so I think it's time to switch them off and be slow. So hopefully it pays off.
well, congratulations and enjoy your double or triple crown. Yeah, the same for Ivan overall as well. And yeah, congratulations, and we'll speak to you later.
Thanks, Aaron.
So right, we've only got 8 people left on the track. I thought it was going to be carnage, but it's going to be this carnage. What do you think, Viper?
It's sort of,
right,
the action itself, we've seen Hunter's retirement. Hunter and Jake were very, very close on track at one point, and then Hunter's incident has taken away any chance of action here. Jake, after his pit stop for a new front wing, is going to come out, what, about 3 or 4 seconds behind Summersport here, actually closer than that even. So could have a little bit of a fight, but yeah, the action sort of coming to a close here for the finale. Yes, indeed. Not quite been what we expected, but it's been a good race to watch up until this point.
Yes, there was plenty of action going on. I knew there'd be a bit of carnage to rain anyway, and probably quite a few went more to a dry setup. Oh yeah.
This is one of those tracks where you need, it's one of those tracks where you need the right kind of setup. You need a setup that suits you. There's not, like on TT especially, there's certain setups that some guys like. For example, a few of the guys running 2.6 wings, whereas for me it's sort of lower wings. I like the 2.5, 3.5 even in quali sometimes, but yeah. It just mainly for this track comes down to personal preference and what works best for each individual, because it's one of those where there's multiple lines almost in most of the corners. This corner here where Eddie's going through this middle sector, you can going very, very late on the brakes and cut back on yourself, or you can sort of hug it quite tight. It sort of comes down to sort of driver variations when it comes like driving style, and that sort of has an effect on the overall setup that different drivers need. So that would make sense that it takes that bit more time to really learn the track, learn what works, and yeah, especially in the wet conditions when you're sort of switching from that wet setup to the from that dry setup to the wet track. That could be a bit of a challenge.
Well, we might have a little battle near the end. JM seems to be closing up a bit on Spartan. A little bit of a slide, but that's the close battle we're going to have. Yeah, he's been getting quicker. Jake with the fastest lap, trying to get an extra bonus point.
I would have helped if Local was still P3 with it.
Yep, that fastest lap. Obviously, as the race goes on, the fuel depletes, the car gets lighter, the track gets better, the times will begin to fall down, and Jake, the fast lap of the race, I imagine we might see one or two still trying to challenge for that. Summer Sport and Dips both on, might be a little bit of a fight put up for that fast lap from a couple of the lads.
I think actually, well, James is now right on the back of Spartan, trying to go for this podium.
JM does look though like he's struggling a little bit with the traction. Through turn 4 last lap we saw a little bit of a slide, and then through turn 3 this lap here, the rear end getting just a little bit loosely Spartan the head. Not too stable on the back end. These tyres coming towards the end of their life now. 18 laps done on these tyres for these two guys. It's not going to be easy. The tyres will be wearing away, and I imagine we'll see a bit of a fight here. Spartan, yep, losing the back end.
I thought it was lag.
Side by side almost. Albert corner we go. Is there going to be a lunge from XBL? No, Spartan's defends the inside. XBL has to wait now until the straight. He's got to be careful on that back end. Got to keep the traction under control as they now come up the hill. Kilbro not too far ahead, 3.2 seconds, so they can still see that McLaren. P2 is still in sight as they're closing in a few tenths every lap, it would seem. Staying on board with XBL now. Will he be able to get a move to the inside of Spartan? Will he defend it? Spartan's going just a little bit defensive.
We're on the penultimate lap now, and please put in the chat who you think driver of the day is. I think it's a tough one. I think Dangerous Dan deserves huge credit.
Must be.
Yeah.
But every time leading from the safety car and being put away.
Has he not lost the lead even in the pit stops?
Nope, he's held the lead the entirety of the race.
Every single.
He did for one lap when Edu didn't stay. Oh no, sorry.
He stayed. Yeah, he was still ahead of Edu. Dan has led every single lap of this race, start to finish, fully under control. I think the only time the gap has been below about 4 seconds is when he was a few laps after the safety car, and then he eventually extended it to above that. So I think just based on the dominant race that he's had, Dan deserves it personally.
And if Dan does win this and gets ahead of Kilbro, Dangerous Dan will end up third in the championship because they're both equal to 70 points.
Yep, there's XBL there almost into the back of Spartan, so this fight is still going on for the final podium spot. I don't know how the penalty situation stacks up, but for the moment that's not what we want to focus on. The on-track battle is what's more important. We've got Jake as well starting to close on Summer Sport, so we could get 2 fights here on the last lap of the race, which would be quite nice to see, both including alphas. Yeah. XBL 5/10 the gap between himself and Spartan. Spartan's going a little bit defensive to the inside, not really needing to with the gap that he's got at the end of that straight entering turn 4.
Go on, Jake.
So a bit cut over to CCRL Jake here, who is closing and closing on Summer Sport. 4 laps of difference in their tyres as Jake sets the fast lap again. Yep, indeed. So 9/10 the gap. Will he be able to close in enough come the final corner here to be able to get a move done for that position? Got Dan going to be crossing the line.
Yeah,
in a
make
few
sure to keep
moments'
an eye
time.
on Dan.
Yep. That gap between Spartans and XPL has opened up a little bit over the course of this lap here. I think Spartans will hold on to that, but we'll cut to Dan quickly as he comes through the final few metres of this circuit. Last time around and across the line he comes to complete what has been 36 laps of the Brazilian Grand Prix, taking the win against Kilbro here. Kilbro coming home in P2, and then the fight behind. Spartans takes it on track and keeps it after penalties. XBL 2.4 seconds off in the end. Apex Edu 12. Yeah, Edu across the line, weaving to celebrate a P5 after starting P19. Now the fight here between Jake and Summer Sport as they run up the hill. I don't think Jake's going to be anywhere near close enough to challenge Summer Sport. Yep, penalties could still come into play. Summer Sport across the line. He's going to come across the line in P6. Jake stays in P7, so penalties not having any effect there, and then dips in P8, the last of the finishers, following 12 retirements. In what's been more of a race of attrition than anything else. Dips will be the last to finish. P8 for him, still picking up points from this race.
What's he doing here?
As he slows down, coming across the line. Dip slightly disappointed. He was fighting for the podium at one stage during the race, but not to be in the end. P8 he finished, only 8 finishes as mentioned. So that is Brazilian Grand Prix complete, just the podium interviews to go through, and then that is it for F3 in Season 2. Senna, I don't know if you want to send the lads the invites.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, they understand definitely deserve getting driver of the day.
Yep.
So we're going to definitely confirm that.
So there is the confirmation of the race results. Dangerous Dan with a very, very commanding victory. 5.6 seconds in the end over Kilbro, who finished P2, having started P5 on the grid, so not a bad job from Kilbro to see himself through the field a little bit. Spartans from P4 up to P3, gaining 1 position overall throughout the race, picking up a penalty. Fortunate that XBL in P4 had a 5-second penalty for himself, which just about allowed Spartans to hold on to that P3 to claim what I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is his first podium of the season. I might be wrong on that one, but brilliant job nonetheless. XBL obviously starting P17, and then Edu starting P19, finishing P5. Brilliant job from all the guys who did finish race. Difficult race for all of them, but it was Dangerous Dan who came out on top. I don't see who we've got in the party. Have we got all 3 of the drivers? Yes, we have. Senna, I'll leave you with the honours to go through the podium interviews, because you know my stand on them.
Yes, I know your stand on that, yeah. Right, so is everybody in? Does everybody tick the box?
I've done it, yeah.
Yep.
Everybody done it? Right, good. Right, so go to third place. GCC Spartan, you had a good battle at the end with JM, holding him off. Just tell us how your race went. So I did see a lot of you sometimes, but it's almost you at the end, so.
Okay, I am not good at English, but I will try my best. I think the race was very interesting in the way that all the drivers had to give everything of what we got, and the wet race was very, in the final laps, dramatic, because I got a penalty and I don't knew that SPL has a penalty too, but I made mistakes, and fortunately SBL had a penalty, and conserve the P3.
Yeah, well, congratulations anyway. It's good to see you back for the final race as you weren't here. For the last couple of races, so it's good to see you do well at the end.
Yeah, I was a bit bossy in the last races, so I don't attend many of them, but I think it was a very end of the season.
So anyway, congratulations on your third place. So we'll move over to Kilbray.
Thank you.
So like Kilbray, you'll finish 4th in the championship at the end, but you must be very happy about starting in F4. We're interested to see if you had the same pace as Dan after the first safety car, but after a couple more, because you were stuck behind Cookie and Kings and all that. But when you got past, but we did keep up with Dangerous now, but then near the end you just dropped back a bit. But yeah, just let me know how your race went.
Yeah, it was a good race. We qualified P5, brought back up to P2. Unfortunately, didn't get P3 in the championship. But it was, I could say it was a good season overall, to be honest.
And how are you feeling about the next game coming out next week?
I haven't tried it yet, so it depends, to be honest, but all the points go back down to 0 at the end of the day, so it's going to be close from the start, I think.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how everybody gets on with the new game. But yeah, congratulations on that, and congratulations on the season as a whole. You know, your races in F4, you've got plenty of podiums to this year, so definitely something to look to forward to next season.
Thank you.
And then we'll move on to the race winner and driver of the day, Dangerous Dan. Great job getting pole, and great job of managing all the safety cars, and we're still able to pull away, and you led every single lap without making any mistakes. So it's the reason why we're giving you driver of the day. So you must have got a bit frustrated over time the safety car come out. You started to pull like a 2, 3, 4 second gap every time, and then the safety car would come out. So yeah, just give us an overall of how your race went.
Well, yeah, race went obviously pretty well. I was quite annoyed when that first safety car came out, but I was expecting it at the end of the day. In those conditions, it was kind of inevitable. But yeah, I seemed to be able to bring that gap forward again. I think I gained 2 or 3 seconds after that. I think it was just because everybody was so bunched up, and I got battles going on behind me. I was lucky that I could pull away after that, and I was really happy with making the right call in terms of the pit strategy. Got in on the right safety car and took it to the end, yeah.
So that got you third overall again. I know you were challenging after a couple of bad races before took you out, but overall you still should be happy with that. You know, it's where you want to race to form this, and should give you good confidence going into next season onto a new game.
Yeah, definitely. I was I don't know how many. I think I've won another race past, further down in the season, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with that result.
Well, what did you win? Have you got anything to add, Vipers? Anything you want to ask them at all?
Not particularly, to be honest. Just congratulations to all the guys that did finish on the podium, and congratulations to Spursy on the title, of course. It's been an interesting season. I've not commentated it all. I think first race was Germany, if I'm not mistaken, but it's been an entertaining watch for me and been enjoyable to commentate over. So yeah, other than that, it's been a good end to the season.
Yeah, so congratulations to all the people actually finished. I think it was like 8 people that finished, so congratulations to them. So we've got one more race tomorrow. It's the F2 race, obviously. Podium has to wrap that up. I think the constructors is wrapped up as well, but one more race on this game, and then this season is done, and then we move on to season 3 on F1 2020. So thank you all for tuning in, and make sure to tune in tomorrow for the last race of season 2 of F2. We'll see you then.